So glad to have you join us. Now, the September 21 governorship election in Edo State draws nearer, and several aspirants have stepped up and indicated interest in the state's #1 job. Under the platform of the Labour Party, Tom Iseghohi has stepped up and is promising to make Edo State an investment haven if elected as governor. Iseghohi says he will ensure good governance and proper management of the vast resources in the South state. The governorship hopeful is upbeat about his chances of emerging victorious during the party's primary election, slated for February 22nd. According to Iseghohi, he is a transformation expert, a specialist at rebuilding moribund sleeping giants whose challenges make Nigeria's challenges a child's play. With opponents like Kenneth Maswagmo, Olumide Akpata, Dore Koji, and 30 others, you can say that Tom Iseghohi has his job cut out for him. Well, I'm now being joined in the studio by the man himself, who says he will make Edo State an investment haven if he does win the election and the party's ticket. Well, it's said that talk is cheap. Does Iseghohi possess the proverbial magic wand? Well, Tom Iseghohi, who is a former group president and CEO of Transcorp International and former executive vice president of the American Express, joins me right now in the studio. Thank you so much for joining us on Prime Time.
Thank you.
Talk to us, Tom, about the teething problems that the Labour Party is having at the moment. I mean, several of your colleagues, aspirants, are saying that 30 million naira is just too much for the purchase of the party's governorship form. While the party is saying that, look, if you want to be governor, I mean, it's not a child's play. You've got the PDP and APC to contend with. So, I mean, raising 30 million shouldn't be an issue. But, of course, Labour Party being seen from a perspective as a workers' party, people see such an amount is much. What's your view?
Well, at the end of the day, politics, to be involved in politics, you actually need three key things. One is money. The other is followership, and you have to be able to make the future of the electorate better. So the bottom line is that politics is also a game of competition. So the competitors in this case are primarily the PDP and the APC. They have resources. So my view is that if we are to successfully compete against those other parties, we have to have resources. So I'm not one of those that's opposed to the cost of the form, and I'm not protesting the cost of the form, and I believe that in the next several days we will purchase the form.
Yeah, I mean, that's what I wanted to ask, if you had purchased the form or not. Well, you said in a few days' time. Let's talk about the chances of the Labour Party in Edo State. Yeah, we saw the results during the presidential election in that state, but people within the state are beginning to make comparisons. I say when it comes to local elections, it looks like the turnout during the presidential election may just not be it when it comes to governorship, because the stakes are different. How have you been viewing it with your strategists?
Thank you very much. Our focus primarily right now, as you indicated during your intro, we have 34 aspirants. So I'm one of 34 people. I am actually quite confident that I will emerge as the Labour Party candidate. So when I emerge as the candidate, I think our chances are very good in Edo State. The epicenter of the Labour Party is actually in Edo State. But let's step back a bit and look at what an election is all about. An election is actually a very complex program where you have a product, in this case, a potential governor that you need to market to the people. And in doing that, you have to run this complex program that actually you're selling what you're going to do for the people so their lives can be better. But even if they believe you, on election day, it is a very complex project to move those people from their homes to go and vote.
Yeah.
I believe that the campaign team has a tremendous role to play in that. We have assembled a world-class campaign team that knows how to run complex programs. When you were introducing me, you didn't talk about my Ford Motor Company background.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't have been saying everything.
No, it's okay.
You've got this international experience here and there, but we're talking about local politics.
No, it's okay.
Now.
I wanted to link that to local politics. Local politics is about running a very complex program where you have to move all these people from their homes to a polling booth. You have to be able to monitor everything that's going on. You have to then assemble all of that into winning an election. That's exactly what it takes to build a car. A car is a very complex program with thousands of suppliers that you have to bring together. My team is full of locals and international people, diaspora Nigerians and local Nigerians that know how to play the ground game as well as the air game. So we're very prepared. And the bottom line is, I am running because I want my people, the Edo people, I want their future to be better. So I am a member of the Labour Party. I am extremely confident about the Labour Party's chances in terms of how the electorate views the Labour Party, as well as the structures that we've put in place, not only to win the election, but to protect the win.
Ahead of the party's primary on February 22, I want you to talk to me about how you're working to ensure that either some of these other aspirants drop for you or you actually beat them hands down. But with contestants like Kenneth Mansuagbon, you have, of course, Olumide Akpata and others. I mean, wouldn't people be saying that you seem late to the party?
I think that people have to understand what primaries are relative to a general election. We may seem late because we declared in the minds of people late. You have to keep in mind that a declaration is just an event. And a primary election is about convincing the party structure and party members that you're the best person to help them win an election. The fact is, when people say we are late, it's just because we are not loud. We have been on this project since October 1st, 2013, when I invited 50 people to have the first conversation about this project. And throughout the last year and a half, we've been having discussions with the key people within the party. Ultimately, what's going to determine who wins the primaries is what the delegates decide.
Yeah.
So in terms of party politics, we're well grounded, and we have done a lot of work, and we're extremely confident. I know you'll say that other aspirants are equally confident, and that's true. But we've done our work. We know what we've done. We are experts at running transformational programs. This is just another program where you have to convince people that you are the best person to actually help them win an election. And we've been making that case. And I think when you look at our track record and the tools that we have in our toolbox, I think you'll be convinced that we are best positioned to win the election and to protect the win.
And are you confident that the Labour Party has the capacity to be able to conduct a free, fair and transparent primary election, considering that your national chairman, Julius Abure, actually comes from Edo State, and there's a tendency that, I mean, he may want to have a preferred candidate?
Well, from what I've seen in my interactions with him, I think I'm disadvantaged because he's bending over backwards to prove that he's not biased. And in the process, I feel like I'm being penalized because I'm from the same place that he's from. What I've seen so far in the Labour Party is that they are doing their best to present a level playing field. And one of my concerns before I went into the Labour Party is whether or not they are serious about winning an election. I am convinced that they are serious about winning an election. And when you are serious about winning an election, you are going to be serious about picking the best candidate that can help you win an election.
Well, Labour Party continues to pride itself as a party that doesn't have structure. I don't know if you understand the geopolitics of Edo State and the need to have structure on ground if you're prepared for this race, considering the talks here and there that, I mean, Edo Central should actually produce the next governor of the state. You are from Esan, and you see what Edo North is actually pumping out, maybe sometimes through the APC, and then you also see what Edo South has been saying, and then, of course, what Edo Central is also saying in the PDP. What are the chances of someone from Edo Central not only emerging as the Labour Party's candidate, but also winning the election?
I think winning the election is a separate issue from producing a candidate. However, they are related. And a party that's serious about winning an election is going to pick the best candidate. However, this issue about zoning, I have a personal point of view on zoning and also on the election in 2024. Generally speaking, in terms of zoning of candidates, I personally don't believe in zoning, personally. However, I am a corporate executive. I've been at the top of some top corporations in the world. So I've been trained to respect contracts. What we have is a 25-year-old contract. And in that contract, there were 3 parties to the contract: Edo Central, Edo North, and Edo South. And what was agreed that each one will get a turn, will get its own turn. Halfway through the contract, when 2 parties have enjoyed the fruits of the contract is about to be cancelled. I don't believe that that is fair or should be done.
Yeah.
Once Edo Central has had its turn, then we can open it up for everybody. Now, if on the other hand...
But isn't that the reason why you're running, actually? Because it favors your zone.
No, I'm running because I'm the best person to run this state, irrespective from where they come from. However, if we were in a situation where Edo Central is unable to produce somebody who has capacity to run the state, I'll be the first person to start negotiating with the other senatorial districts that, okay, this is what Edo Central wants to achieve. Let's negotiate. After all, politics is about negotiation.
Negotiation, yeah. Yes. So you've got these juicy international credentials here and there. And then, of course, I mean, you've also tried to get involved in national politics by serving as a strategist for several campaigns, both presidential and all of that. Talk to us about what exactly you're coming to change in Edo State if you're empowered by the Labour Party through its ticket and you find yourself in Osadebe Avenue.
You know, the fact is that if you look at what we have in Edo State, and I'll focus on Edo State, we have a huge security problem, we have a huge economic problem, and then we have a problem with rule of law, which is we are almost on the verge of anarchy. So without those 3 things being taken care of, you are in serious trouble because nothing else can work. If you don't have rule of law, you can't get investment. And if you don't have security, nothing works. So those are the first 2 things that I would take care of. From an economic perspective, there are several low-hanging fruits that we just have not taken advantage of as a state. For example, just the location of Edo State, keeping in mind that we are a trading economy. Okay, I used to run sales operations for the Pepsi-Cola company. Sales operations essentially means logistics, which is 70% of the cost of anything that you buy. So given that fantastic location, one of the first things I would do is transform Edo State to a logistics state. And I assure you, in logistics, you create massive jobs. We will be able to, one way or the other, be involved in 70% because Nigeria is a trading economy, moving things around. But obviously, there are some obstacles to actually doing logistics effectively. The logistics infrastructure is not there. We don't have the roads to evacuate the goods. So you must work on logistics infrastructure, roads, ports. It doesn't mean building a port. The federal government has a port 35 minutes from Edo State.
Yeah.
We simply partner with the federal government to leverage that port. So what you will see, and you can't engage in those things that I've talked about without capital. So one of the first things I would do is give Edo State an international credit rating. As you know, I'm a former Wall Street executive. Once we have that, Edo State letterhead is commercial paper on Wall Street.
Yeah, well, these are some of the things we heard from an investment banker who happens to be the current chief executive of Edo State with all the good credentials. Unfortunately, people are terming him the MOU governor. I hope you're not on your way to becoming something like that. Talk to us about how you can actually aggregate all these views, the plans, and also carry the people together without being seen as a technocrat who is just at the front and the people are left behind.
I think if you saw my declaration, I actually went out of my way to indicate that I'm applying for a job. I'm not declaring.
Yeah.
The reason I did that is because I want to be judged on my record, not on the record of somebody else. I'm not the present governor, so I can't speak for what he achieved or didn't achieve.
Yeah, but he's also a technocrat like you. And people say sometimes you come around and speak all the big grammar. When you're given the opportunity, you attract projects that at the end don't trickle down. And so, I mean, people like you have been accused of attracting huge projects that tend to want to become white elephant projects.
The key the key phrase that you used is people like me. You didn't say me.
Yeah.
I have a track record, and my track record is a track record of success. So when I get to Edo State, by God's grace, I'm not a person that will start with theoretical projects. I'm going to do tangible things, and like we used to do on Wall Street, every quarter I'm going to tell the Edo people where we are in what we are doing. A logistics project is tangible. In 1 month, you know if you're making progress. I've been a CPA for 28 years. I started my banking career in 1985 for Bank of America. So I'm not a white elephant kind of guy. I'm going to focus on specific things with specific metrics. When I get in, I'm going to do a benchmark. This is where we are on jobs, on this and that.
All right, talk to us about education, for example. We've seen lots of young people from Edo State wanting to always go abroad, even when they haven't completed basic education.
Yes.
Talk to us about education and the relationship with migration and how to curb such appetite for just wanting to go abroad, even when someone doesn't have all the skills necessary to actually go outside the country.
It seems as though you are actually inside my mind, because all the questions you are asking relate to exactly what I want to do. 85% of the population in Edo State is less than 50 years old. In order for those people to ever have a future, when a governor comes in, whether it's me or not, you have to start by stratifying those people and figuring out the ones that you cannot begin to give basic education to. What do you do with them? We are going to do vocational training for those people and get them the types of jobs in things like agro-allied and logistics so that they are employed. One of the reasons we don't have security is because you have young people that are idle. Then we are going to get to foundational education, which means that we are going to pick people that are 13 years old and begin to stratify them. Who are the ones that should go to vocational training? Which ones are going to turn out to be political leaders? Which ones are going to be business leaders? And we are going to train them from that perspective. Without human capital, we can't do anything. This is a top priority for my agenda with Edo State. All
right, as we try to round off this conversation, I want you to talk to me and our audiences on how you intend to raise the monies to actually finance some of the projects, because we've seen most governors coming to Abuja to beg, beg directors, assistant directors, and people are questioning what sort of federalism are we running when governors can't generate funds to take care of themselves. They have to come down to Abuja. How do you intend to make a difference if you become a Edo State governor?
To me, any governor that comes to Abuja to beg for money doesn't really understand how money is raised. The way money is raised is that if you have an annuity, which is what all the states have, every month you're going to get money. And Edo State is one of the highest annuities in this country. If you have an annuity and you set up a system of credibility, that's why I talked about credit rating.
Yeah.
Once you have a credit rating and you demonstrate the ability to pay, I'm not even going to take loans. I'm going to structure projects properly.
Well, it's so interesting to hear.
No,
previous governors have been, hanging there with loans and all of that.
Well, those governors did not start their banking career in 1985. They were not executives on Wall Street.
The current one is an investment banker. Governor Godwin Obaseki. What's been your assessment of his government so far, just before I let you go?
I don't know enough to have a point of view, to be honest with you. I was a very strong fan of Godwin's because I knew him in Lagos, and I was excited when he became governor, and we gave him space to do whatever it is he's doing. But I don't know enough about his performance to have a point of view. Right now, we are looking at...
You don't care about that?
No,
someone who wants to unseat his party,
I'm not saying that I don't care. But I won't speak about people without having the correct data. My team is presently working on the data.
Okay.
And once the data, obviously we need that data as a benchmark and as a baseline to start from. Okay. And look, the type of government I'm going to run is going to be very different. I'm not going to be looking in the rearview mirror trying to punish people or look at what they've done. No, I'm focused on my people. My people are suffering,
okay.
And I want to change their future.
So just very quickly, you've got APC to contend with,
Yes.
people like Adams Oshomole being the godfather.
Yes.
And then you've also got someone like Governor Obaseki, and the talks here and there that he's supporting Aswe Ighodalo to actually take over, and he's a sort of godfather. So who exactly will then be your godfather in the Labour Party if you've got all these top parties that have been either ruling parties or former ruling parties in the state to contend with?
We all have godfathers, and my godfather is the Edo people.
Okay.
And those are the people I will report to. Those are going to be my bosses. And if they tell me they want me, I will be their governor and I will perform for them.
There's this popular phrase called Edo no be Lagos. I don't know.
The other thing I'd like to tell you,
very quickly,
is that
before you go.
Edo politics and Edo people are extremely exposed people and politically knowledgeable people.
Yeah.
They are not going to accept godfatherism, and they are determined to put someone there that is going to work for them. And,
okay.
I'm that person.
All right, Tom Iseghohi, we must say thank you so much for joining us here. And we just hope that you put all your structures in place to actually start from the February 22 primary election, because I mean, with other contenders, about 33 of them, I don't envy you. Thank you so much for joining us. Well, Tom Iseghohi is a Labour Party governorship aspirant in Edo State. And of course, he's been joining us to help us understand all the issues.